Once upon a time, a girl called Mfon. Mfon had always lived in the big and bustling city of Uyo, where life moved fast. Cars honked all day, tall buildings covered the sky, and people were always in a rush. She was a smart and curious young lady but had never been to her parents' hometown. Her parents often told her stories about a quiet village where they grew up, but they never took her there. One sunny afternoon, Mfon's cousin, Itoro, came visiting. Itoro was full of energy and excitement, and her stories about the village made Mfong curious. Mfong, Itoro said one day as they sat chatting in the living room, "You are missing out, oh. The village is so peaceful and beautiful. People are kind, the air is fresh, and life is simple over there." Mfong raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure? What's there to see in a small village? I bet it's just farms and trees." Itoro laughed. "You will never know until you visit. Let's go together. It will be fun." Mfong thought about it for a moment. Her parents had always spoken fondly of the village, and maybe it was time to see it for herself. When she told her parents about the Itoro's suggestion, they were thrilled. "It's a good idea," her father nodded. "It is time you know where you come from. The village is your hometown, too." Mfong's mother supported him. "It will help you understand your roots and traditions. Go see for yourself." With her parents' approval, Mfong and Itoro packed their bags and set off to the village. When they arrived at Ndito Uroa, Mfong was surprised. The village was nothing like the noisy city she was used to. The air was fresh and smelled of flowers. There were few cars, mostly bicycles, and people walking around. Chickens and goats roamed freely. Children played in the open fields, laughing and chasing each other. "Wow," Mfong said, looking around. "It's so quiet here." Itoro grinned. "I told you. Isn't it nice?" An elderly woman carrying a basket of fruit greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome, my children. Are you visiting?" "Yes, ma," Itoro replied politely. "This is my cousin Mfong. It's her first time here." The woman nodded. "You will love it here. Take your time to enjoy our little village." Mfong smiled back. Everyone seemed so kind and welcoming. She immediately felt at peace. That night, Mfong couldn't stop admiring the starry sky. Unlike the city, where lights from buildings covered the stars, the village sky was clear and full of twinkling stars. "This place feels so magical," she exclaimed to herself as she fell asleep. The next morning, Itoro suggested they explore the village. A young boy named Basi, about 10 years old and full of energy, volunteered to show them around. "I know every corner of the village," Basi said proudly. "I will take you to see everything: the river, the old baobab tree, and even the market." The three of them set out, chatting and laughing as they walked. They saw farmers working in the fields, women pounding yam, and the children fetching water from a stream. Mfong was fascinated. "This is so different from the city," she said to Itoro. "Everything feels so real." As they walked back home, they came across a large dried tree with roots sticking out of the ground. It was old, twisted, and looked like it had been there forever. It blocked part of the narrow path, making it hard to walk through. "Why don't they just cut this thing off?" Mfong asked, pointing at the roots. "Someone could trip and hurt themselves." Basi's cheerful face suddenly turned serious. He stepped back and shook his head. "No! This is not an ordinary root. Mfong frowned. What do you mean? It's just a piece of dried wood. No, Auntie, Bassy said, lowering his voice. This is the tree of the ancestors. It is as old as the village itself. Some say it holds the spirits of our forefathers. Others say it is an old woman who turned into the trump. But everyone knows it protects us. It is very powerful. Mfong burst into laughter. You can't be serious. This dried piece of wood and oracle? That's ridiculous. Itoro, however, looked uneasy. Mfong, maybe we should just leave it alone. Leave it alone? It's just a root, a tree root, Mfong insisted. She walked up to the stump and raised her foot to kick it. But Bassy grabbed her arm and pulled her back. Please, Auntie, don't do that, he begged. You must not touch it or disrespect it. Bad things will happen. Mfong rolled her eyes. This is nonsense. As Itoro and Bassy walked away, Mfong stood there, still wondering how foolish people could be to believe such superstitions. Suddenly, she felt the urge to pee. She looked around for a bush to hide in but hesitated. What if there are insects or snakes there? She muttered. Her eyes suddenly landed on the stump. An idea struck her. It's just a piece of wood, she thought. Why not? Without thinking, she looked back and forth to be sure no one was watching. When she was sure she was alone, she quickly squatted and relieved herself on the stump. She laughed as she ran to catch up with Itoro and Bassy. That night, Mfong went to bed feeling proud of herself for proving how silly the villagers' beliefs were. But her laughter didn't last long. The next morning, Mfong woke up to a wet bed. She sat up in shock. Did I wet the bed? She whispered. She hadn't wet the bed since she was a child. She quickly washed up and cleaned the sheets before anyone could notice. Luckily, there were waterproof sheets under the bedsheet, so the mattress was safe. But as she carried the sheet outside to dry, Itoro saw her. Mfong, why are you washing so early? Itoro asked. Nothing, Mfong said quickly. I just felt like washing. Itoro nodded, but then stopped and pointed at Mfong's legs. Wait, Mfong, what's that on your legs? Are you urinating? Mfong looked down and froze. A stream of urine was running down her legs. She hadn't even noticed it. Feeling embarrassed, she ran inside and locked herself in the bathroom. What is happening to me? She asked in confusion. After several hospital visits and traditional remedies failed, Mfong's condition only worsened. She was now using almost 10 diapers daily. The constant urination made her feel weak and she started to lose weight. Finally, Itoro called Mfong's parents. We have done all we can, she told them over the phone. You need to come. She's not getting better. When her parents arrived, they were devastated to see Mfong looking so pale and weak. Mfong's father decided to consult an elder in the village. The elder listened carefully and said, take her to the shrine. This problem did not start in the city. It started here in this village. Only the oracle knows what is wrong. At the shrine, the chief priest examined Mfong and began to chant. When he finished, he said, your daughter has offended the tree of the ancestors. Mfong's parents gasped. How? We have always respected the oracle. The priest shook his head. You kept her away from her roots. Now she knows nothing of our ways. Then he turned to Mfong. Speak, what did you do at the tree stump? Mfong's face went pale as the memory flooded back. Her voice trembled. I didn't know. I thought it was just a piece of wood. I relieved myself on it. Her parents stared at her in disbelief. You did what? Her father shouted. How could you be so careless? Her mother bursted into tears. Of all places to relieve yourself, why, my child? Mfong fell to her knees, sobbing. I am sorry, I didn't know. I didn't mean to offend anyone. The priest's eyes narrowed. Ignorance is no excuse. The oracle is angry. The curse will not lift until you make amends. Her mother pleaded, Wise one, what can we do to make this right? The priest replied, The oracle demands service. She must bathe the tree trunk, clothe it with white linen, and bring 3 meals as offerings every day until the oracle forgives her. Mfong's parents returned to the city, and Itoro left after a week, leaving Mfong alone in the village. Every day she fetched clean water from the stream, battered the tree, dressed it in white linen, and placed meals before it. At first, she felt humiliated by the stars and whispers of the villagers, but as time passed, she began to reflect. She realized how foolish she had been, mocking their beliefs and acting without understanding. 6 months passed. Mfong's life revolved around serving the oracle. She woke up early, performed her duties, and spent her days quietly in the village. Then one morning, she noticed something strange. Her diaper was dry. At first, she thought it was a mistake, but as the day went on, she realized it had stopped. Could it be? As she finished her duties that day, the chief priest appeared. The oracle has spoken, he announced. It has forgiven you. You are free to go. Mfong couldn't believe her ears. She fell to her knees. Thank you so much. She called her parents and Itoro to share the good news. They were overjoyed and urged her to return to the city. As Mfong said goodbye to the village, she felt nothing but gratitude. Thank you for teaching me. I will never forget what I have learned here. When she returned home, her family welcomed her with open arms. They saw how much she has changed. Humble, wiser, and more respectful. From then on, Mfong's parents make sure to take her and her siblings to the village regularly. They wanted them to know their roots and understand their culture. Mfong never forgot the lesson she learned. Respect traditions and honor your roots, and think before you act. Wow, this was such an amazing story, and I really hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, turn your post notification button so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Click on the like button to give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends and your families. It's the only way you can support me and my channel. Thank you so much. God bless you. I really appreciate you. Bye for now, and I'll see you in my next video.